Hello friends, I want to talk to you about the currency. And I want to say that we are in very difficult times, and what is our way out of this? I mean, last week my mom bought cement for 5,400. This week 9,600. Things are changing by the minute, and it no longer makes sense. Some of them are driven by evidence because the currency is losing value. We know this because the cost of input is rising. Another thing is also sentiment. If three people have wares, someone selling rice, someone selling gari, someone selling cement. If the rice seller increases his price by 500 naira and cement seller increases her price by 2,000 naira, then the gari seller also feels that he or she must increase her price. So things are changing, sometimes driven by evidence, just because there's a general inflationary sentiment in the environment. And we cannot just continue like this. We've taken two measures. I mean, the government, I mean specifically, has taken two measures. And those two measures have to move up subsidy and also the floating of the currency. And I don't think a lot of thought went into those decision making. One, because there's what they call the Chesterton fence. You don't bring down the fence without understanding why it's standing in the first place. And I don't think the government had the entire information required to have made those decisions. There's a subsidy needed to go, but how? What are the things that needed to be done before subsidy is removed or yanked off? And because technically we're paying back subsidy at this point. I mean, you can't tell me diesel is 1,300 naira and fuel is 650 naira. I mean, it means that something is not adding up in that way. Or you also have to float the currency when you are sure that you don't have the reserves to back it. But those decisions have been made and the consequences are here. And the question I would say is, what is our way out of this? And I'll talk about 7 things that we need to do quickly. The first thing is that we need to find an emergency fund. In any situation, you have a short-term, medium-term, and long-term fund. What is the short-term solution to Nigeria's problem? We need to find a fund to create some triggers or some shock within the market. It could be a $5 to $10 billion fund, something that has to be done, because every price increase, every inflationary situation has a social cost, which people are dying, people can't access meds, poverty is expanding, unemployment is going to keep happening. Something has to be done. So if it is time for us to take some very stringent conditions to be able to access some funding, we need to go do that. But that can help us maybe 6 months. That will be off. In that 6 months, we have to do something. We will have to optimize our oil production. And if it means we have to license marginal fields, if it means that we have to look at the productivity level of every marginal field, if it means that we have to step oil term, then the government has to do something. Every single drop of oil that Nigeria can produce, it has to be produced and it has to be sold and it has to be properly remitted. That is the only way, we can change things somehow, maybe in another 6 months. And we begin to get the oil productions that we have, that we need to be able to maintain some fiscal balance. Comes to my third point, fiscal tightening. There is no point taking $10 billion loan or getting all the money from oil and we keep feeding appetites that are unproductive. We will have to ask ourselves those hard questions. Are we going to continue to lose fiscal policy? The money we give to state governments, is there any monitoring that those monies, significant chunk of those monies are not round trip back into palm to the black market? The money that paying contractors, is it at the right price, or the corruption element or left will be skimmed off and it brings lose money into the environment? There has to be some fiscal tightening that has to happen. And this is where the Minister of Finance comes in, because the central bank can do everything right or everything wrong. The fiscal side has to complement that in terms of trade. I mean, look at customs, adjusting import tariffs, almost on a daily basis. Such things can change. We can't move forward that way. Also, we also have to look at the monetary policy. The CBN is acting as if it has an infinite supply of dollars and leaving the market forces to determine everything. And I know that they know that there's an infraction in the market. I mean, they've taken a position against the bank about their open positions. They're trying to make sure that PT and PTAs are now being paid through cards. Those decisions have to make. But your monetary policy, your exchange rate policy needs a bit of some stopgaps. It needs a bit of some breaks. Because if we leave it this open-ended, we are not going to maybe see an end of it. The CBN has to ask itself the question, where is the most productive use of FX for Nigeria? And how do you bring everybody into a window, a single transparent window of price mechanism? Because what we have now with too many middlemen will continue to be more inefficient. I leave that for the CBN to figure out. The wave out in the long run is produced anything apart from oil. I mean, it's just Valentine. And billions of dollars were spent on flowers, on chocolates, on and cakes and differentness. And believe me, I mean, the countries where flowers are being produced, cashed out as Nigerians would be. Nigeria has to sell something else apart from oil. Like the Peter Obi phrase of, production and consumption to production. It's also time to know that we have to do consumption, which we do. A country that consumes well, we also have to be a country that produces, productive country. Until we're able to ask ourselves, how can we be productive? We can't change the paradigm. I mean, every time you go to NEC, National Economic Council meeting, the president is summoning government. It should not be a question of pay your salaries, pay gratuity. It's very important to do so. The question was also, what are you producing? Why are you contributing to this matrix? Something from solid minerals. What exactly are you producing? Agriculture. And that's what CBN needs to back governments to do. Back governors to be productive engines. And let's stop all these, we can't pay salaries and we are augmenting and we are printing Paris Club and all that. It's not going to change us. So those are the things you need to put on board. And finally, you need thinkers. You need your thinkers in the system. Most importantly, it looks like the government is still short of quality thinking within the government. And so you have rash decisions being made. So my own advice is look for theorists and practitioners, economists, policy, public policy, analysts. I mean, people who have thought through the problem, who have diagnosed the challenges and able to come to you and tell you, I think this is the best way we can change this situation. And until you do all of this, and I'm going through 7 of them. 1, you need an emergency fund. 2, you need to fix your fiscal side properly. 3, you need your monetary side to review your exchange rate policy. 4th, you need to maximize oil production, oil theft. You need to stem that. You need to optimize your onshore fields, and you need to maybe license new production. 5th, you need your non-oil export engine needs to grow quickly, and that's something you have to ask yourself: where do we stand in the next 2 to 3 years? And you need to get your states to be engines of production. And 7, get some thinkers in the room that can fix things for you, because it looks like the cabinet the president is boosting right now is too suboptimal for the answers that Nigeria needs. Thank you so much. I just feel I should intervene with my thoughts here, and I'm open to your feedback about all of this. I would have mentioned like tightening the monetary policy, but to be honest, anything that raises the interest rate beyond the current levels that they are right now gets me so worried. So we have to make some adjustment along the way. Thank you so much. I wish you the very best, and I pray that the Lord will make it much more easier for Nigeria. Thank you. Bye.